Okay, so I want to do another coaching video on multi-day ultras and what sort of training requirements is needed to be able to achieve them, and what's the difference between training for a normal ultra marathon, either that being 50 or 100, to a multi-day ultra. And so, first thing to start off with is I find the training for a multi-day ultra is probably going to be most likely like a 100-mile training plan. I do have a video somewhere in this channel, or maybe I'll put a quick link up below if I can find it, or if I can do it, which is about 100-mile base training. I think that type of training is needed to be able to do some good multi-days. Some people might argue, say multi-days are a little bit easier than just doing a 100-mile in one go. I disagree, maybe because you get that good rest period on some of the days, but overall by the fifth day, if that's how long that multi-day event is, I still think the same challenges are there, just over more days. Me personally, I'd rather get it over and done with. Stopping, sleeping that night and starting again, I think that's even harder for me. So everyone's going to be a little bit different. So going back to the 100-mile training plans, on that video, then my base training was around about that 6 to 10 hours, around that 50-mile mark, whatever comes first. That's your base, and then you would do the same again, look at that multi-day event, have a look at some of the days and what's each day's involved in regards to elevation as well as distance, and then you can start on the terrain, and then you can start to implement that into your training plans. Obviously most multi-days start off quite gradual. By the middle of that week, you've got your longest day, maybe your worst elevation day, and then it should start to come down those distances ready for the finish line. So yeah, have a look at those elevation profiles and try and add those into those long runs to get a feel how it's going to be, to get you prepared. I find with most multi-day events, it's not necessarily the training that's going to get you over the finish line. It's going to be more to do with personal administration. So what is your procedure when you come in from the race on day one, for example? What's your routine? Do you get enough recovery before the next day, and then crack on from there? And I think a lot of people don't sort of work on that aspect of things as much as they do on the training side of things. So me personally, if I was going to do a multi-day, I would, obviously you've got to be a bit smarter, because if it's only like a 20-30 mile day, it's very easy to go out a bit quick on day one and day two. And I think you've got to really think about the long scale of this event and think, right, okay, I've got to keep myself fresh for several days here without burning out. Remember, if you start to develop niggles, or you really knack yourself out on the day one, day two, you're just making it really hard for yourself on that third and fourth and fifth day when you really don't need to. And you could have finished really strongly, had a cracking race. So as soon as I finish that first day, the first thing I'm going to be sorting out is personal recovery, personal admin from that race. So washing, stretching, food, recovery, and so on. And then the second part of that stage is basically then going to be probably chill out for a few hours if I can. Try and switch off a little bit. Enjoy looking at the other races coming in. And try and take in the atmosphere a little bit. And then probably the third stage is then start to look at the next day. What's the next day involved? Start packing my kit for that. Start looking at maps, and getting my head in the game and getting myself completely prepared for the next day before I go to sleep. I don't want to be going to sleep or trying to sleep, worrying about the next day. I want to get all that sorted. Once that Thursday is done, enjoy the rest of the night. Try and get some sleep a little bit early. It's always hard to sleep in places that you're not familiar with. Especially there's other people around, there's other noises around, so it's all a little bit different, and I find sleep on these races can be a little bit tricky. Probably after the third day, when you're absolutely knackered, you probably just fall to sleep very easily, but those first couple of nights could be enough to tire you out. So like I said, with multi-days, training wise, should be the same as a 100-mile. Again, check out that video. I'll give you lots of information. Add in the elevation gain into some of those long runs to give you an idea on each part of it. So for example, what I mean by that is if the third day was 2,000 feet of climbing over a certain distance, try and add that into that long day just to get a feel for it. And then maybe on another long run, you can try day four's elevation and that one just to get a feel for it. Yes, back-to-back days are going to help, but I don't think you need to do anything like 5 days of back-to-backs to get an idea how the ultra is. Leave that to the actual ultra event day. And then like I said, practice that administration side. Have a plan. Write it all down. What your stages are coming in. Okay, I need to be drinking, eating, sort my feet out if it needs it, washing, cleaning, then chilling out for a little bit. Then start preparing yourself for the next day, packing your kit, make alterations. In theory, alterations shouldn't be happening on ultra. That should all be nailed down in your training, but you never know, things change all the time. Look at the map, get some sleep. That is pretty much the only thing that needs to be more focused on a multi-day than you do on a normal ultra. It's just that personal admin side of things. I think that's it for that video. So I haven't really gone into major details of it because, like I said, I've done that whole 100-mile ultra training series. I think a lot of information is in there to get you over what you need to do, but I just wanted to give you a bit of an idea that there isn't much difference. It's just the personal admin's a bit more, you need to be a bit more switched on that side of things. Anyway, any comments, any questions whatsoever, please give them below, and I'll answer them when I can. Thanks everyone, thanks for watching.